Today is the day. The start to the 2024 Life Time Unbound Gravel is rapidly approaching.
By all accounts, it is the most competitive field for both the men and the women.
If you win Unbound, like, in a way, your career is made.
Most athletes in the elite field have raced the South Course, but only a handful have raced the North.
And that's the thing, like, this race, you never know.
Making her move off the front of the women's peloton.
We have some big moves here in the men's elite race.
Damn, we got a race now, you guys.
In a field this steep, you really only get one move.
What we still have is Lachlan Morton and Chad Haga off the front.
Is it going to be a photo finish for this women's sprint at Unbound Gravel?
I drove 20 hours to get out here, and this is the place to be. This is the #1 gravel event in the world. I'm already planning to come back next year.
I've been volunteering for 3 years. I think it's neat that something close by can become such a worldwide phenomenon.
Emporia, Kansas, Unbound Gravel. Second attempt for me. I say attempt because last year was a disaster.
It's definitely the most intimidating. It's probably the one that people lose the most sleep over.
Welcome to the 2024 Lifetime Unbound Gravel, a race that thousands of cyclists from around the world put on their calendar in the hopes of getting to race alongside some of the best gravel cyclists in the world. As you watch the Unbound 200 this year, you're going to hear us talking about the Lifetime Grand Prix. And the Lifetime Grand Prix is actually a series of 7 events. These racers that we've hand-selected, 30 men and 30 women from around the world, are all competing for their share of a $300,000 prize purse, the largest in North America. So these athletes are, not only are they competing for that $300,000 prize purse, but we've got some really big name athletes that are not part of the Grand Prix. We've got the current gravel world champion, Matej Mohoric. We've got last year's Unbound 200 winner, Caroline Schiff. We've got the Dutch legend, Nicky Terpstra, fresh off the world tour. And we've got Olympic champion, Greg Van Avermaet.
At Lifetime, we're often looked at as event promoters, but we really view ourselves as community builders. This year we have individuals coming here from 50 states and over 40 countries to take on Unbound Gravel.
Unbound started in the parking lot with 36 riders. It was not a big national event. Lifetime coming on board with us in 2019 was a big game changer. Lifetime definitely believes in building community and healthy way of life, and I think Unbound dovetails so nicely with that. Really just growing the number of Emporians and area residents that now ride bikes.
It's a unique experience to line up with 4,000 people for a bike race.
The big show, biggest gravel race on the planet. I want the Unbound title so bad.
The leaders of the 200 now coming in for a final sprint.
If you win Unbound, like, in a way, your career is made. It's an automatic ticket to the Hall of Fame.
Last year was just crazy. I finished first. That was a big surprise for me. I have 2 or 3 season goals, so Unbound is definitely the biggest one. So it's very important for me.
I would definitely love to improve on the second place from last year, and there is only one spot where I can improve.
I was thinking this is just a long race on really wide gravel roads. The conditions are completely unexpected.
It's so different to everything we do. Your whole training has to change. Your mentality definitely has to change.
There's so many factors that are going into play here. It's like trying to take control over all of those factors, and you just simply cannot.
And that's the thing, like, this race, you never know. And it's just knowing that you're prepared and able to deal with that and don't give up.
It's my longest ride ever, I think, so we will see, but I hope to finish. That's first key point. That's the only thing I'm worried about, to travel that far and not finish the race.
My impression was maybe because it was like the chunky stuff that everyone's talking about, maybe it would drain better, right?
That's where it could benefit the Americans.
Yeah, and that's,
who have done this before.
Paige kept saying, she's like, I don't know that any of the Euros are going to do as well as they think, because she's like gravel worlds last year, like nothing like this.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's
just
dry.
different gravel in general. It's like
this is like a little bit different.
All right, everyone, it's dark and early here in Emporia, but the town is buzzing with energy because today is the day. The start to the 2024 Life Time Unbound Gravel is rapidly approaching, and you can feel the nerves amongst all the riders out here. For the elite men and women, we will once again feature separate starts, and once they are all off the line, we'll get our mass start athletes rolling as well. If you've been tuning into the last couple years of Unbound Gravel coverage, you'll notice something different about this year's race.
You can look at it however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
That's all the layers.
Every couple of years, the Unbound Gravel course alternates routes. In 2022 and 23, we sent our athletes south, but this year it's time to change it up, so we're headed north. This route is highlighted by rougher terrain, punchier climbs, and the always unpredictable weather of the Flint Hills of Kansas. We caught up with some of the athletes to get their thoughts for the Lifetime Grand Prix's first venture into the Unbound Gravel North Course.
The North Course has steeper climbs, more relentless rollers, and chunkier rock more consistently.
I think it will be like kind of a fast start and a bit of a sprint for that rough section.
Well, everyone's saying the North Course was like a lot harder, a lot hillier.
It will be all about tires and punctures, I think.
When it's a mud year, a lot of it is just picking good lines, getting off the road sometimes, riding in the grass, getting off and running, putting the bike on your shoulder if you have to. It's just it's survival, really.
There is way more climbing, so it looks like a very demanding parcours.
For a strong field at the start line, so that will be very exciting.
Carnage is going to happen, but overall it's going to feel predominantly like a road race with the tactics and, you know, lead group sort of peloton.
I feel prepared. I feel excited for the race, and yeah, I'm ready. I feel ready.
Okay, Emporia, we are just moments away from the start. Once again, we will have Kimo and Janel following the action from the heli. We will also get to see Tim Johnson and Lauren Hall out there following the action on the ground. And as always, our production team is staged all over the course, ready to capture today's excitement. I'm Bill Elliston, and I'll be right here relaying the time splits and updates from the field to keep you informed on all the happenings in today's race. And now I can hear the heli buzzing overhead, and we all know what that means. Seconds remain until the men cross the line. Kimo and Janel have eyes on the start. Let's kick it out to them to watch the men head out of town and make their way north. Kimo and Janel, how's it looking up there?
Good morning, Janel. Here we are at the 2024 Lifetime Unbound Gravel, about to kick it off. 3, 2, 1, They're off here, Janel. Here they go.
By all accounts, it is the most competitive field for both the men and the women this year. 145 elite men and about 61 elite women lining up.
This is the World Series, or the Super Bowl of gravel, so all eyes around the world, the cycling world, really focused on what's happening here in Emporia, Kansas today, Janel.
And there they go, our elite men are underway. So now, of course, it's time to turn our attention back here to the start line as we count the women in.
Looking at the start line of our elite women, we're seeing a lot of former champions of Unbound Gravel. Last year's winner, Caroline Schiff, is taking to the start line, along with 2022 winner, Sofia Gomez Vichafanye. And the women are off for Lifetime Unbound Gravel 2024.
It's a historic race here this year at Unbound.
Having elite-only women's start is super unique because this way we women can really be strategic. We can battle each other, we can actually race together and also have completely different dynamics, which allows us to be more strategic and make the racing way more exciting.
I love to be at our own start with a good time gap between the elite men and also the amateurs men. It's just amazing, yeah.
And there you have it, Emporia. Our elite men and our elite women are charging forth, making their way into the North Course. You know, we heard from the athletes just a moment ago as they mentally prepared for this route, which is new to a lot of them. Most athletes in the elite field have raced the South Course, but only a handful have raced the North. For a more in-depth look at the twists and turns of the North Course, here's race co-director Christy Moan to break it down for us.
The North Course is punchier and chunkier. It still has mud, but because it's rockier, it tends to shed the water faster and dry up a little quicker. This year, the riders are going to be lining up facing north, heading north on Commercial Street to get out of town. The first 25 miles of the course, smooth gravel, there's not a lot to break it up. So we know that that race is going to be super fast leading out. And then at mile 25, they'll hit Car Reserve Road. There are only 1 to 2 good lines through that section, so that should start to break things up. It's over 10,000 feet of climbing in this 200-mile course, and it's legit climb after climb after climb after climb. After they pass through the town of Eskridge, they will immediately encounter one of the hardest sections of the course, Divide Road. The first checkpoint is in the city of Alma, 70 miles into the race. As they start to head back south, the wind is going to become a factor. Around mile 100, the riders will face a couple steep climbs before turning onto Little Egypt Road. It is a formidable stretch featuring more rugged rock, double-track road, and punchy climbs that has the potential to blow the race apart. The second and final aid station is at mile 149 in Council Grove. Like once you get to Council Grove, the hay is in the barn and you've done most of the hard work. You've just got one last significant hill climb at Lake Cahola. Once you do all of that, you're just on your way back to Emporia to the finish line. If there's a group still together, then they're going to work to the finish and we'll see a big sprint for sure. I am excited about the road closures that we have. We get the whole street. And this year, the 200 milers will have their own finishing lane. It's going to free those athletes up to have a clear shot at the finish line. So it'll be really special to watch it this year.
Okay, thank you, Christy. Let's check back in with our heli crew. Kimo and Janel, how's it going out there?
Thanks, Bill. Here in the helicopter, all connected across this kind of remote course with Garmin devices, allowing for constant tracking and communication of our athletes. It's the first time we've been able to have eyes on all of our lead vehicles, so we can spot the athletes, we know where they are, we know where the action is happening. It's all thanks to Garmin.
Let's go rejoin our men's elite field.
Hey, thanks, Janelle. Thanks, Kimo. Mile 25, this is Car Reserve Road. The rocks are bigger, the gravel is sharper. So we have some early breakaway riders. Kungstad from Denmark, who's the first one to go, followed by Chase Wark. In a Tenki, the Russian rider, who's well known to the US gravel scene, and Adam Roberge, who is really kind of a joker in this situation because he does have the legs to make it 200. And so he's decided he's not going to wait around for Keegan Swenson, Monte Morris, Greg Van Avermaet, and all the rest of the Grand Prix riders. So this is a really good move. I'm interested to see how long they're going to be able to last for.
The thing about this race, especially this year, because how deep the field is and how many fast riders there are, is that things are so tense in the first 40 miles.
Kimo, this is an incredible shot of our men's field. Adam Roberge cresting 2 hills in front of the elite men's peloton. And this is also a great way to see how this course can be death by 1,000 cuts, one steep roller at a time.
So those first 28 miles, I would say everyone's focused on trying to save energy, not crash. But as we approach that 28-mile whole shot, the pace just gradually gets going more and more.
Out there in the men's field, we have Jonas Orsid and Tobias Kongstad in front, Innokinti Zavyalov and Chase Wark behind them. Adam Roberge is solo, and then the rest of them grouped up there giving chase.
We've hit the north end of this East Car Reserve Road. We've been talking about how chunky and technical it's going to start to get up here, and you can see they've started to string it out.
There's races within the race, and the races within the race are fighting for position into these technical, rocky sections where you know people are going to have mechanicals, there's going to be crashes, and because it's narrower, the field's going to get really strung out.
It looks like it might be John Borstelman there on the front, but sitting on second wheel, riding a smart race. Bahrain victorious is Matej Mohoric, our current gravel world champion. Second wheel.
Just try to survive the first part, come to checkpoints, try to fix the punctures, and then if we are there in the select group in the final, then we can start racing.
So Janel, we're following Jordan Schleck here, who has missed this front selection. It looks like he's chasing back on. I don't know if he had a flat or some technical issues, but he is with Team Amani. First time in the Grand Prix, and he's done a number of our events over the last couple years, but you can see Jordan really working hard to try and bridge back up. Our team over at Cole Collab, our production team, was able to spend some time with Jordan. Let's see what he had to say this week.
My name is Jordan Schleck, second YG, and I come from Uganda. Team Amani is a team in East Africa around a place called Iten. That's where the team lives, and we have lots of athletes from Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, as well in DRC Congo. Team Amani, it gives them opportunity to access international races and to showcase on what they can do on the bike. We want to be the best athletes back home, but still we want to compete with the best as well, so that we get to know where we are. When I heard about the Life Time Grand Prix series, it was pretty exciting stuff, you know. If you come to the States, you know, the competition is really high. You know, you get to meet like cool new people in the series, and you need to really train more so that things work out at the end. My goals this year at Unbound, to finish strong, you know. I only need to finish strong, healthy as well, you know, get good results and try to score more points, you know, and see if things will go well at the end. That's the only way I can show people back home, you know, if you do something really good in a right way, things will suddenly change, you know. So I do right for change, and that really puts me in a position of like push every time and represent my family and my country as well.
You know, the mission of Team Amani, they're doing just a phenomenal job. And, you know, now here we got you know, Jordan Schleck with Team Amani over here on the world stage. It's pretty cool to see this happening coming out of East Africa.
Thank you, Kimo and Janel and Tim, for that look at the men's field. As they continue north towards checkpoint 1, let's swoop back and check in with the elite women. Lauren Hall is on the ground, riding alongside. Lauren, how's the early race shaking out for the women?
All right, guys, we are here within our first hour of racing of our elite women here in Unbound, and we've already seen a crash. It didn't look like anything too dangerous. Everyone has gotten back in the group, but that's just this racing right here, is you get a little bit of a lull and something like that happens when you're not expecting it.
Janel, we're back with the lead elite women, and it's a pretty good group working together. Same crew near the front that we saw when we left a little bit earlier. I see Lauren DiCrescenzo sitting there on the left-hand side.
When you don't know where the move will happen, you are constantly making decisions, because every time you chase a move, you're burning a match that you're not going to get back.
The front of the women's peloton, making her move. You know, Kimo, Emily has a strong history in time trial, and you can see from her pedaling style, she is committed to this move.
And in 200 miles, the amount of matches you have compared to that distance, it doesn't match up. You have to be super intentional with your energy.
Lauren DiCrescenzo out of the saddle, pulling the women's field back to our lone leader, Emily Newsom. 20 riders back, Sofia Gomez-Vichafanier with Haley Smith sitting just off to her left-hand side.
I have to look around with so many other riders, like what are they gonna do, is their tactic? But you also don't want to waste all your energy in the beginning because you know what's still coming.
And they have reeled in Emily Newsom just as Car Reserve Road starts to get rough.
These women are ready for the decisive sections of this course. It's imperative to be at the front, and that's what they're doing.
Paige Onweller and Danny Shrosby on the front.
Lot European girls come over, and I know from the last races that they are pretty strong.
You know, Janel, pretty cool to see Danny Shrosby come over here from the UK Gravel National Champion. Was working a full-time job and, you know, flying back and forth all last year for the Grand Prix. Sounds like she's got enough support to be able to be over here and race full-time this year.
One of the greatest things about Unbound Gravel is how it really is a hometown race. And Danny has such a cool story about her host house family from last year. And, you know, they have a 14-year-old daughter who Danny, after meeting last year, has mentored through her NICA mountain bike program. And the 14-year-old mentee is racing Unbound 100 today.
Last year, basically, me being the unorganized Brit and not really aware of how busy Unbound gets. 2 weeks before, messaged the Lifetime team, like, guys, I've not got any accommodation. They were like, oh, like, you're gonna struggle. And then Becca reached out to me and was like, oh, there's a family from the local cycling team. They'll host you. They welcomed me in with open arms.
I think I remember her coming up the driveway and I was like, she's here, she's here, she's here.
We instantly all got on, didn't we?
Yeah.
The girls made amazing sign on the driveway for me. They're chiropractors, so every day they're like, do you want your body readjusting? And then every morning they're like, do you want pancakes? And I was like, whoa, I've done well here. This is the dream. Their young daughter did the 100 miles last year and she was 14 years old. I think back when I was 14, I didn't think I could do 100 miles, especially on gravel.
We don't only get to bond over silly things like nails, but she also can help me figure out my plan for cycling. It's just always really fun getting to work with her.
Yes, I remember that.
They were like, you have to stay with us every year that you come to Unbound. So yeah, I'm back with them this year.
I think you're even better prepped this year. In the race, you can just think about pacing. Don't go off too hard.
I just like to offer them as much insight as I can, but at the same time, they're so young. Just do what she feels most proud of for herself. Enjoy sport, and then you'll probably love it more.
So as our women continue working their way north, the lead men are about 30 miles or so from the first checkpoint. Tim Johnson is on the ground with the men. How's it looking out there, Tim?
A little bit of an update from here on the ground. Lots going on in the race. We've got our 4-man breakaway still with a big lead. The lead of the peloton has been moving back and forth. Lots of attacks. They went through the first water station in Eskridge. No one stopped for water. Everyone was prepared to keep on the gas all the way through there.
When the field is so deep, there will be more people in the front group deeper into the race. It's just hard for the elastic to actually snap.
It's really the first part of the race that we've seen trouble hit multiple riders at the same time, including our young Slovenian from Bahrain, Meridia teammates, Amani Moric. So he just lost one teammate in his bid to help him win Unbound Gravel.
I am honestly not scared, but I have a huge respect for... No, I'm actually also a little bit scared, to be honest. I have huge respect for a ride that is almost 10,000 kilojoules. My biggest ride this far was 6,000 calories. So this will be almost double.
Traditionally at a race like Unbound, the course is so hard that the course takes care of the selection. With a field this deep, it's the front riders, they have to force the race. They have to force the splits. The terrain alone won't do it anymore.
So the word on the street is that on the other side of Divide Road, we have a lead group of 4. Behind them, we have another small group that has split off, and then about a minute behind them is the rest of the men's peloton.
Our lead men have survived the divide. They're at mile 61, and they're about 9 miles away from our first official checkpoint of the day.
You know, seeing Lachlan come to the front like this, he's been known to take a flyer here or there. He's never afraid to race aggressively.
You use the hills, or you use the rough sections, or you try and use the wind to thin the group out and get it to a more manageable size.
Rarely are you going to see him sit in the entire day. He loves to go to the front and animate the race.
On this side of me. Thanks. Dude, where's my bag, dude? Where's my fucking bag? Where's my feed bag, dude? I just want to use that. Bike. Let's go, baby. Fucking killing. Bring that, give me that Red Bull next time. Yeah. I love you guys. Love you, baby. Get it.
Just ice creams are melted. Just Gel's ice cream Red Bull. Ice creams are melted.
Matt, right here, Matt. It's fine?
Yeah, it feels hard.
It does feel hard. Matt, get it, buddy. In race mode, of course, but they were in and out of here fast.
So there you saw it. Our men's field has cleared checkpoint 1. We saw those flyers early on. They have since joined up to create a lead group of 4. That's Tobias Kongstad, Jonas Orset, Inokenti Zaviolov, and Chase Wark. About 4 minutes behind them, you have Sebastian Schonberger, Jan Bakelants, Ty Zonneveld, Connie Lucer, and John Borselman. And after that, there's everybody else. Tobin Ortenblad has been in that front group all day. Keegan, Lachlan, Vaycox, Brendan Johnson, Chad Haga, Pete Stetna, Payson, just to name a few. Now let's turn our attention back to the women's field as they make their approach into checkpoint 1. Lauren Hall is out there. How's it looking, Lauren?
We are right here on course mile 63, headed towards checkpoint 1 in Alma. All together, all back together. We've had Sophia with her front flat, Chase back on with a group of 7. We've seen a couple dangling right off the bat, but for the most part, the gang's all here.
That's always a hard decision to find the right balance between supporting a group, because it's always good for yourself to have a group and to go faster.
Carolyn really loves racing over here. She owns a bike shop in Germany and still works full time. So cool to see her come back this year. She's made a name for herself since retiring from the road and putting all of her energy into gravel.
But you always need to look for yourself to save energy and to not invest too much.
And really made a name for herself winning last year, sitting on her wheel right behind her. Another past winner, Lauren DiCrescenzo, won 2 years ago out here, and then just not too far in front of her is a winner from just 2 years ago, Sofia Gomez Vichafanye. So we've got the 3 most recent past champions all in this lead group.
I think I'm not too selfish, so I always look also at others, that they are having a good life in the race.
Kimo, in the history of Unbound, I can't ever remember a group of women this big rolling into the first checkpoint together.
You know, it's because it's never happened. We're really hoping with this separation that it creates a positive environment for the women to have their own race.
Are we good? Yep.
Looking fast, man. They came in here in a hurry. That was crazy.
So there you have it, the women's field having a proper women's race. As they pulled into Alma, you have Hannah Otto leading the charge. Heather Jackson, Sarah Sturm, Minor Minagawa, Paige Onweller, Girike Schruers, Danny Shrosbury, Rosa Closer, Caroline Resson, Anna Hicks, Carolyn Schiff, Sophia Haley Alexis, LDC. They're all in there. That's a lot of firepower in the women's lead group. Now we're going to stick with the women for a moment as Lauren follows them out of checkpoint 1. What you got, Lauren?
Mile 74, Anna Otto pushing the pace, leading the way, wanted to be up front for the MMR road section. It was real greasy, muddy, and who was on her wheel? Sarah Stern. They get up and over the climb. Sarah wants to push the pace. Hannah's not too keen on it. And Whitney Allison closing the gap, and who's on her wheel? Carolyn Schiff, last year's winner.
You have to use the course to your advantage, and especially a course like this, it can be challenging because the speed is already so high. And at some point, the speeds start to feel maxed out, which means you have to use things like technical terrain, corners, and the climbs. But it's also helpful to know what's coming up and where and how challenging the next climb is going to be.
Okay, Lauren, thank you. Can't wait to see how that race plays out. Now, I believe Kimo and Janel are back on with the men as they are about halfway through today's race. Kimo and Janel, take it away.
We are rejoining the men's field as they come through the famed area, Little Egypt, climbing up.
They've got 3 or 4 more sections of Little Egypt here that are going to be really treacherous to get through without any kind of damage to their bikes.
It's a constant game of analysis on what's happening and how guys are looking and body language and who you think might be playing a poker face.
Going through Little Egypt, Keegan not being shy about his purpose here today, swallowing up that lead group of 4.
Knowing your competitors at this point, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, and also knowing about what you think they will do based on their actions in the past.
Sounds like that lead group, those 4 guys that were 5 minutes at the first checkpoint have been caught. And now the men's field is all together in one group.
Payson McElvin, great to see him up here taking a pull. Pete Stetna right on his wheel.
This one's going to be a little more interesting in that we have, such an influx of high caliber European pros. Changes the dynamic completely.
They're about to make a left-hand turn. They've made it through Little Egypt fairly safely.
That Mate Moric flatted in the really tough creek crossing of Little Egypt. He did not crest the hill with that lead group.
We might have lost our gravel world champion, but we've got a really heavy-hitting group here in the front.
About 24 riders in this lead group of men. Earlier it was Adam Roberge. This looks like Dylan Johnson with the super arrow move on the handlebars, making his move off the front of the group.
Looks like Chad Hagen on his wheel. He's another World Tour rider that made the switch over to gravel and has come back to give a shot at good Life Time Unbound Gravel.
Lachlan Morton also finding his way to the front of this group. What we're seeing is that the front end of this field, maybe there's 6 riders who are doing the work, right? But you can't drift too far back, because even if you see the move happening, you'll be too far back to actually go with it.
Our Garmin Baja Tread XL Race Edition is informing me that our men's field is approaching the water oasis at mile 113.
Looks like they're going to roll right by the water stop and keep on going. They're going to be content to wait till they get to their cruise out at Council Grove.
From the water oasis at mile 112, we're heading back out on course to find our lead women.
For mile 90, we've just gone through this beautiful creek crossing. LDC, Lauren Dickersenzo, is off the front with over a minute gap. Peloton is charging in chase with Heather Jackson leading, followed by Sofia Vichafanye. And right behind her, we have all the hitters, everyone lined out, ready to go, looking around, seeing how everybody's feeling.
My past experience with patience is it's something I've always been working on. I just have to remind myself constantly, like, just wait, Lauren. I race sometimes too much with my heart.
And there she is, Lauren Dickersenzo, our solo leader, cresting Volland Hill. Great to see this returning champion of the Unbound 200 off the front solo.
So Lauren is, our 2021 winner here at Lifetime Unbound Gravel, and she's coming back from a traumatic brain injury about 7-8 years ago. We're going to do a little bit of story on her from our friends over at Cole Collaborative.
And I think I see a smile. I actually think I see a crack of a smile on Lauren's face and a big celebration at the finish line.
I am Lauren DiCrescenzo, also known as LDC around these parts.
Your Unbound 200 winner, Lauren DiCrescenzo, takes the win for 2021.
That was the biggest win in my career, and it was really cool. It allowed me to return to professional cycling. In 2016, I suffered a nearly fatal traumatic brain injury at a road race where, I had to be airlifted to the ICU.
Woke up in a rehabilitation center. I thought I was done with cycling.
I told myself I don't ever want to see a bike again. But once I was discharged, that feeling didn't last for very long because I really love riding my bike.
So when I did get back on the bike and I had the opportunity to race, I now see a huge difference between pain and suffering.
Over the next 2 years, I used cycling more as like a measuring stick throughout my recovery. I really just wanted to return to where I was before the crash. And I was able to do that and then get even better and better and better.
Senzo right now currently sitting second, still out on course.
The recovery from the traumatic brain injury was like the hardest thing I've done in my entire life. So now though, like on my bike, when like it starts to hurt, I have to remind myself that this isn't suffering, it's temporary.
Some people like to think that I've lost my pain receptors. It's a rumor going around the Peloton.
That's helpful here at Unbound.
In 2022, I raced Unbound for a third time. I got second place.
The field keeps getting deeper and deeper every year, and it's getting faster and faster. Sorry, I'm like, that's okay. It's been a long day.
Last year I came back again, but it didn't go so well.
Lauren DiCrescenzo, she's in 37th right now.
So this year, after everything I've been through, to return to the North Course where I literally got my life back, it means everything. And I'm here for my sweet, sweet redemption. If I could go back in time and not be in that crash, I don't know if I would. I think it made me the person that I am today.
God damn, we got a race now, you guys. We've got 11 chasing LDC still. We've had Sophia with another puncture. We've had Rosa closer with a crash, and she's made it back. We have got a race, you guys.
Hannah Otto in second wheel, Jenna Reinhardt, Haley Smith, and Hirka Schurz.
It looks like right on her wheel, we've still got Sarah Sturm, and that looks like Alexa Scarta sitting on Sturmy's wheel right now. Behind her is
last year's
Caroline Schiff, Heather Jackson coming through. Man, have we ever got a star-studded field here. As we head up this hill and get ready to make the turn to drop down into that infamous Little Egypt climb. Janel, one of the best things we're seeing here today, we're seeing a women's race.
When a former winner goes off the front, it is dangerous.
You want to ideally eliminate them from the final selection. And one of the ways you can do that is to tire them out. Just let them cook out front. Give them enough hope that they can do it, that they keep pushing, but keep them within reach that you know within the group. Anytime we want to catch them, we will.
We know all about her capabilities and that she's a very strong solo rider.
Lauren DiCrescenzo climbing out of Little Egypt, grinding through some of the roughest flint gravel that we've seen today.
If someone asked me if that was a good idea to take a flyer with 130 miles to go, I would say that's a terrible idea. But if I asked myself that question, I would say, yeah, go for it.
Might be a little early to be taking this kind of flyer. If she could win this thing on a 110-mile breakaway, that would be pretty epic, but you got to think that this strong group of women that we've got, such an elite field, they've got a pretty good chance to bring her back at some point.
Turns out I'm actually kind of crazy.
That has to be there. It turns out I'm kind of crazy.
We have some big moves here in the men's elite race. It looks like our Two-man breakaway Chad Haga, Thijs Zonneveld have been joined. Bridging across a gap that was probably sitting about 45 seconds is Lachlan Morton. I'm looking back and I don't see that group anywhere, so looks like a really good move from Lachlan. It's a bit early, it's about 100K to go, 60 miles. But if anyone can keep on and hang all the way to the line, it's gonna be Lachlan.
To do a move by yourself is incredibly difficult because there's just high speed, you know, and if you have someone else with you, that makes a really big difference. So the hardest part of making a move like that is creating the initial separation.
Breakaway of 3 is really working well together. We are still pretty far out from the finish, but the thing that's gonna make the difference is whether or not they work well together. We just saw Lachlan Morton handing a gel to Thijs Zonneveld.
But I think if you're trying to win, you have to make moves like that.
And that gap is now well over a minute, maybe even 2 at this point. So great start to this breakaway.
The bigger the group gets, the less cohesion there is.
It's extremely challenging to be in a situation like that where there is so much infighting within the chase group and there's so little cooperation, but it is road racing 101.
That breakaway of 3, Zonneveld flatted, leaving just Lachlan and Chad Haga. But right now they have a 1:45 lead over chase group of about 15, 16 riders.
You can see that some people, it gets into their mind that, oh, now not everybody's working together. And I think it is super, super frustrating for a lot of people.
These guys are working together nicely and really look smooth.
Chad Haga, a longtime road racer on 12 Grand Tours. He's a 2-time second place at the USTT Nationals, and definitely a dark horse considering he has not done much gravel racing.
There are some strong guys back there that can chase them. I wouldn't write off the likes of Keegan and Matt Beers and Finsty and that crew back there. They've got a strong group.
Matt Beers hitting the win for what could be the first time.
Always eager to throw down, Beers takes one of many strong pulls at the front of the chase group here at mile 140. We can see the power file shared from his Garmin. On this climb, he's sitting at 500 plus watts, causing some separation to Schoenberger, the rider in white with red helmet. Keegan Swenson digging deep on the wheel, but ready to immediately take over the chase.
He is an absolute diesel engine, and he's a guy that in a race like Unbound, this fits him really well. We mentioned earlier he won Cape Epic this year, came over a couple weeks later, got 3rd at Sea Otter, and we're really happy to see Matt back here racing with us this year.
I mean, when you mark like that, it's just whatever you do, the eyes are on you from all the competitors. You just constantly have guys ready to just jump on your wheel. But yeah, that's cool. I'm appreciative that people think I'm good enough.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a tricky one, this race. It takes a lot out of you, the training for it. You know, you kind of have to do 7 to 9 hour rides with efforts and stuff. Rides that kind of replicate it. I was out in Tucson with Keegan and Russell Sophia, and no better place to kind of train than out there in the desert in like 100 degrees every day.
So as the men are closing in on checkpoint 2, Matt Beers and Keegan and the rest of that deep group of riders only have about 50 miles left to chase down Lachlan and Chad Haga. The front of our men's field has reached checkpoint 2 at Council Grove. And with that, we're going to take a look at the overall leaderboard. Of course, Lachlan and Chad Haga are in front. Behind them, it's the big group, including Schoenberger, Adam Roberge, Pete Stetna, Keegan, Greg Van Avermaet is in there, Finsty, Kongstad, Toby Road, Payson is hanging in, the Johnsons, Dylan and Brendan, Matt Beers, Lance Hydett, Jonas Onset, and Zach Calton. The next pack of elite men is about a minute or so behind them. Now, let's turn our attention back to the women. Last we saw, it was a big pack chasing a solo leader in Lauren DeCrescenzo. Lauren Hall is out there to catch us up on whether or not that is still the case. What's the latest out there, Lauren?
Got 11 chasers still chasing LDC, about a 1 minute gap. The hit stars, here we go.
When you do bring back a flyer, it demotivates the group to sometimes take another flyer after it, because the group is now aware that it's strong enough to close down this flyer.
It's all back together. They've called LDC and they've dropped one. They've dropped Jenna Reinhardt from the group. It's just attrition at this point, and there's so much left to race.
Janel, we just caught back up with the lead women, and looks like we've got a good group together here.
Look who's sitting last wheel, Lauren DeCrescenzo.
See Lauren pretty labored there, trying to stay on the back of this group.
When the group catches you, it's demoralizing because you know how much more energy you spent than they just did rolling up to you in a big group. You just gotta park yourself at the back of that group.
This kind of racing that we're able to see, this is just such a joy and a thrill to be able to watch the women race like this today. Kimo, look at this. Rosa Closer looking like she is nursing a pretty significant front flat at the moment. Just 5 miles out from the second checkpoint at Council Grove.
See if she can make it in, limp it in on that flat tire and get a quick wheel change.
There we go.
Yeah. Sarah! Jeannie! Sarah!
Oh!
Okay. You need chain lube? Hey! Table.
2 bottles and food. Thank you. You want ice?
Yes.
Can I put it in your shirt? Put it in my back. Thank you. Okay.
Ow!
And now our women have cleared checkpoint 2. As you saw, it's still one big group out in front. We've got Paige Onweller, Girika Schroers, Hannah Otto, Haley Smith, Carolyn Schiff, Sarah Sturm, Heather Jackson, Sarah Lang, Alexis Scarda, LDC, and Rosa Closer in that lead group of 11. About 4 minutes back, we have Jenna Reinhardt, then Danny Shrosbury and Tiffany Cromwell are minute behind Jenna. Sofia Gomez Vichafanye is back in 16th place, about 11 minutes off the leaders. And now, before we join back with the men, Kimo and Janel have a quick message for us.
So Janel, you can see our new partners out here at the top of Cola Hill, Kinetic Ketones, working with us.
Yeah, I can't get over how refreshing this Kinetic is.
Yeah, it's science-based, flavor-forward. Just learned that they've got 3 patents on this. It's a great product, so.
Hoping it's going to take us through to 202 miles to the finish line in Emporia.
A lot of work in this helicopter today. We got to get our ketones in.
That's right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Lachlan Morton, well known to the Lifetime Grand Prix followers, 32 years old, an Australian living in Northern California, best known for riding the entire Tour de France route, including the gaps between the start and finishes of each stage by himself, 5,000 kilometers. He's one of those riders that everyone knows. Lachlan Morton in his bright pink EF Easy Post outfit at the front, but unknown, his compatriot on the front is the American rider, 35 years old, Chad Haga. He just retired from a 12-year career as a World Tour rider. He's ridden 18 Grand Tours. That's Tour de France, Tour of Italy, Tour of Spain. This first Unbound. He's been racing some of the European gravel races, but it takes an American to do well over there and show them how to get this gravel thing together. But
it would take an incredible bike rider to ride that distance to the finish line by themselves. Sure, someone could do it, but I don't have that ability. I needed someone.
Lachlan Morton and Chad Haga. It's been close to 30 miles. They've been off the front.
Just under 20 miles to the finish.
I mean, the work they're doing, the work Lockie's doing sitting on the front is just unreal. They must have put in a pretty hard effort to break away from those guys, and it's been pretty impressive to see them stay away.
good on for these guys for having this be potentially the race-defining move.
I wonder how they're going to play this out. Are they going to work together until the very last minute and then have a sprint? Or are we going to start to see a little bit more of that, should I go now, big bomb attack, try and go early and just get some separation?
This is really incredible.
They are 2 minutes 30 down right now.
Okay, how am I going to actually try and win this thing? The rider who, you've been sharing work with and essentially has been a teammate switches to being, okay, this is now the enemy.
Toby Reed pulling through, and Greg Van Avermaet now on his wheel.
We're hearing that Matt Beers and Keegan Swenson have been dropped from the chase group.
Kimo, we have found Keegan Swenson. He has about 3 minutes and 20 seconds to make up on the chase group.
He does not look very good right now. Like, he's rocking around on the bike. Doesn't look like he's going that fast. And so I think he must, maybe he's got some nutritional, maybe some cramping, or he might have just had a mechanical and he's just trying to claw his way back.
These are some strong performances that we're witnessing today, and it's going to be an exciting finish.
I always find it hard to break that stalemate. Like you're kind of ruining the friendship, whoever first attacks.
Lachlan Morton just gets the smallest separation and an attack from Chad Haga. Sensing his moment, Chad Haga has opened a small gap, but Lachlan is not giving up, is not panicking in any way on the bike. But look at the speed from Chad Haga.
He showed his cars. He showed he didn't want to wait for a sprint. Lachlan Morton, now he knows exactly what he's dealing with. Chad Haga is getting a little bit more tactical. He's trying to get Lachlan back to the front, but the person who attacks first immediately changes the tone.
Closing that gap can be a huge confidence booster because you realize you have the legs and in a situation where they've caught you by surprise. So essentially you've had to make a big effort. You match that effort.
You don't want to get shocked or surprised by the guy coming around you. You definitely want to be the one coming from behind. But look at Chad looking over his right shoulder. He keeps looking,
How is this going to go? Who's going to go first? It's going to be a counterattack, or it's going to be in the last couple 100 yards and we actually get a full-on sprint?
Highland Hill, Lachlan out of the saddle, and here he goes. Up the right-hand side of the road, Chad Haga looking to close that gap as quickly as possible.
Monkey's got a nice little gap going here.
Haga is not giving up. Lachlan Morton out of the saddle. Chad Haga closing down that gap to Lachlan Morton. Comes onto terms, and it is going to be a tight sprint to the finish here in Emporia, Kansas. Lachlan out of the
Lachlan out of the saddle, coming around Chad. Here he is, final sprint. Looks like Lachlan's going to break away from him. He's going to get the win.
And it looks like it is Lachlan Morton, your 2024 Lifetime Unbound Gravel champion.
Lachlan Morton! Chad Haga realizing at 50 meters it just wasn't to be. We've got a big chase group. They were only about 2.5 minutes behind.
Tobias Konstad, Peter Havoc, and Matteo De Marchi.
You know how the finish line is, and when you turn left into the boulevard, you just want to start sprinting. But please wait a little bit. And you can see them coming, and then be like, wait a little bit, and then you try again.
Here they come in a full-on sprint for third place.
Tobias Konstad, he's going to walk away with a well-earned third place. Peter Havoc in fourth, and Matteo De Marchi in fifth.
It looks like our Rio Olympic gold medalist in seventh, Greg Van Avermaet, and Payson McElvin with a phenomenal ride.
I got to sprint to the line with Greg Van Avermaet today. He's won Paris-Roubaix and won the Olympics. Like, I'm literally living my dream.
What a spectacular finish to the men's race, but it's not over yet. Last we heard, that lead group of women was holding strong after checkpoint 2. If that holds, we're in for another exciting finish here at Unbound Gravel. Let's send it back out to Lauren Hall to get the latest from the women's field.
All right, mile 178, we've just come over Cahola Climb, where Paige Onweller set a blistering pace. Dropped Alexis Skarda and Sarah Lang. Rosa Kohler has made it back to the group. This is the group we're taking to the finish line. What are we gonna have here today? A sprint finish?
With 15 miles to go, our lead group of women is still 9 riders strong.
When you're in a big group, it can get quite challenging to get away solo after you already experienced that the group is willing to chase.
You're looking at everyone else, trying to convince yourself that you're the strongest, looking for any moments of weakness.
The LDC taking a gel right now, and I think they're all preparing for what's to come.
There comes a point in the race when everyone realizes it's going to be a sprint finish.
And then the playing starts. What's everyone going to do? Is someone trying to make a final attack?
Sometimes it can also be the strategy to just ride the hills really fast and to try to get rid of people one by one.
They've just turned onto the pavement. This could be the first ever bunch sprint to decide who is going to be crowned the Queen of Gravel here in Emporia, Kansas.
What's happening?
G and Carolyn are trying to get Lauren to work, and she's not. And they're basically saying everybody else is working except you. Don't be a dick. Sorry.
There is so much tension that is built. We've all been working through together 10 hours, but at some point that camaraderie ends. And all of a sudden you realize it's every woman for themselves. My plan was to be in the back of the pack because you never want to lead for a sprint.
Sarah Sturm taking that right-hand bend in first wheel. Carolyn Schiff on her wheels. Herky Schurz still in great position. Doesn't want to get pinched off in this upcoming left-hander. Just narrowly taking that line in front of Herky Schurz. 500 meters to go. Rosa closer out on the outside as Carolyn Schiff starts to come up on the left-hand side. Sarah Sturm still holding an advantage.
Unbound Gravel in Emporia. This is a 9-up sprint. 9-up sprint. Who will take it to the finish line? It looks like Rosa Closer takes this win. Edging out G. Schurz in second place. Paige Onweller with an incredible comeback ride.
Oh my god, I can't believe it. I honestly thought my race was over. I had like a flat tire, but I had an insert, so I was going 30k on the fucking insert. But it was so dangerous at one point that I had to stop. And I made it back.
With our top 3 riders of the day. Well, I can't think of a better way to wrap up our women's professional 200-mile event. A very deserving winner here today.
Rosa Closer edging out G. Schurz and Paige Onweller in third place. Congratulations to all of these elite women.
I'm 12 weeks post ankle surgery yesterday. I'm super jazzed with where my fitness is at right now, and really set me up well for the second half of the season.
What I really appreciated is the separate start from the men, because then you can actually say the strongest woman won today.
And your lifetime Unbound Gravel champion, Rosa Closer.
The entire program, event, and schedule around it make it such a valuable and insightful event that I definitely want to be back.
I was feeling really good out there. Bang, hit a rock. And it's drama from there. No, it's really disappointing.
The level has increased. I'm getting older. I honestly didn't have the self-belief that I could do this. It's really satisfying.
My first Unbound, the field was stacked and it was just super punchy in the first half of the race. And then Lachlan came across, so we just went full for full the rest of the day and had a really good bike race at the end.
Well, there you have it. Stop 2 of the Lifetime Grand Prix is officially in the books. In the overall standings, there's been some changes in the top 3. For the men, Keegan is still in that top spot with 59 points, but now Payson has moved up to second with 58 points, and Matt Beers hangs on to third with 56 points. On the women's side, we have a new leader as Haley Smith takes the top spot with 62 points, Hannah Otto in second with 58, and Sophia rounds out our top 3 with 55 points.
I know. Okay. Dude, I asked him mid-race, I was like, dude, it looks like you have good legs today. He's like, yeah, not really.
I wasn't lying, dude. I wasn't lying. That's the same. They just never get worse.
With the 2024 Unbound Gravel in the books, it is now time to look ahead to the next stop in the Lifetime Grand Prix. Here's Kimo Seymour once again with a look at what's to come.
Two races down. 5 more to go. So far, we've seen our athletes push themselves at a breakneck pace at Sea Otter and suffer through the ruthless toil of 200 miles at Unbound Gravel. Next up, we're headed to the Tusher Mountains outside Beaver, Utah for race number 3, Crusher in the Tusher. Said to be the toughest 69.9 miles on the planet, this race is not for the faint of heart. The July sun will be hammering down. The altitude makes the air thin, and the climbs are relentless. Mile for mile, Crusher packs in more suffering than any other race in the Grand Prix. Those who heed the Tusher's call will need to be ready.
Okay, that's going to do it for us here at Unbound Gravel. For Kimo Seymour and Janel Spilker in the heli, Tim Johnson and Lauren Hall on the ground, and our entire Cold Collaborative production team, I'm Bill Elliston signing off. Thank you for tuning in, and we can't wait to see you next time in Beaver, Utah for the next installment of the Lifetime Grand Prix presented by Mazda.
So